His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, visited the General Headquarters of the Bahrain Defence Force. Upon arrival, His Majesty was received by B-Day Commander-in-Chief Field Marshal Sheikh Khalifa bin Ahmed Al Khalifa, Minister of Defence Affairs Lieutenant General Abdullah bin Hassan Al Nuaimi, and senior officers. During the visit, His Majesty was briefed on the future plans for the development of all branches and units of the BDF. He expressed appreciation and pride in the brave members of the BDF for their constant dedication, loyalty in fulfilling their noble national duties with courage and sincerity, and their commitment to serving the good of the nation and citizens. His Majesty affirmed the importance of unity among nations, avoiding escalation and striving for collective harmony, as these are the highest goals and the surest path towards achieving security and prosperity. He emphasized the importance for efforts to strengthen and promote peace and extend assistance to all to benefit the region and the world. He further praised the BDF members' high standards in military courses inside and outside Bahrain. He said these accomplishments reflect their outstanding competence and commitment to excellence, as well as the precise organization of training courses held in Bahrain, which are conducted and supervised by distinguished officers of the BDF alongside friendly nations. He asked senior officers to convey his greetings to all members of the BDF in their posts across Bahrain. On behalf of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa attended the inauguration ceremony of the Grand Egyptian Museum, the GEM. Upon arrival to the ceremony, His Royal Highness was received by Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. At the inauguration, His Royal Highness conveyed the greetings of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa to President al-Sisi. His Royal Highness congratulated the President and the people of Egypt on the opening, saying that the museum reflects the nation's rich civilization and enduring human heritage. He said that through its exhibitions, the GEM showcases the rich history of Egyptian civilizations, emphasizing the global current impact of the Pharaonic area, highlighting its role in fostering international dialogue and understanding. His Royal Highness expressed appreciation for Egypt's tireless efforts in protecting archaeological remains, noting that these efforts to preserve humanity's heritage build bridges of communication among peoples and civilizations. He said that Egypt's cultural preservation efforts reflect its rich heritage as a cradle of civilizations that has inspired societies worldwide. He expressed pride in the enduring and long-standing Bahrain-Egypt strategic partnership underpinned by multi-sectoral collaboration supported by both His Majesty the King and President Sisi. He commended Egypt's accomplishments under the leadership of El-Sisi, wishing Egypt progress and success. His Royal Highness, accompanied by senior attendees, toured the Grand Egyptian Museum, which features exhibition halls that showcase the rich heritage of Egyptian civilizations and its enduring contributions to humanity. His Royal Highness viewed archaeological exhibits and rare artifacts that showcase different stages of ancient Egyptian history. He highlighted the opening ceremony's performance as a reflection of Egypt's enduring civilization and its role in fostering cultural exchange. He also noted Egypt's legacy of scientific and intellectual excellence, which has played a vital role in enriching Arab and Islamic heritage. He commended Egypt for its commitment to archaeological preservation and cultural heritage and praised its pioneering efforts in protecting antiquities, documenting history and promoting cultural activities, which all reflect a deep sense of national identity and pride in human heritage. His Royal Highness extended his best wishes to Egypt under the leadership of the President for continued progress and success. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa departed Egypt following his attendance at the inauguration ceremony of the Grand Egyptian Museum on behalf of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. Upon departure, His Royal Highness was bid farewell by Egypt's Minister of Public Business Sector, Engineer Mohammed Shimi. The Grand Egyptian Museum, an architectural marvel nestled on the Giza Plateau, officially opened its doors following an impressive ceremony led by Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Located just 2 kilometers from the Great Pyramid of Giza, this monumental institution is poised to become one of the most prominent cultural landmarks of the modern era. We have more in this report.
Near one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the Great Pyramid of Khafou at Giza, Egypt, officially opened what it intends as a cultural highlight of the modern age. The Grand Egyptian Museum, the GEM, described as the world's largest archaeological museum, is packed with some 100,000 artifacts covering some 7 millennia of the country's history, from the pre-dynastic times to the Greek and Roman eras. Prominent Egyptologists argue that its establishment strengthens the demand for key Egyptian antiquities held in the other countries to be returned, including the famed Rosetta Stone displayed at the British Museum.
The Conservation Center is officially opened in 2010 to receive and prepare the artifact selected for display in the Grand Egyptian Museum. The Conservation Center comprises 19 laboratories, and it divided according to the 3 categories: the remedial conservation laboratories and preventive conservation laboratories and laboratories for the conservation science.
A main draw of the GEM will be the entire contents of the intact tomb of the boy king Tutankhamun, displayed together for the first time since it was found by the British Egyptologist Howard Carter. They include Tutankhamun's spectacular gold mask, throne, and chariots. The GEM is packed with some 100,000 artifacts, including a statue of King Ramesses II. Costing some $1.2 billion, the vast museum complex is expected to attract up to 8 million visitors a year, giving a huge boost to the Egyptian tourism, which has been hit by the regional crisis.
I'm happy to be here. The museum is very impressive, and I know that it is the largest archaeological museum in the world, so it is amazing. And I think every tourist who comes to Egypt will love this. And also the collection of the museum, it's very attractive. It shows the history and the civilization of ancient Egypt.
Among the GEM showstoppers are a 3,200-year-old, 16-meter-long suspended obelisk of the powerful pharaoh Ramesses II and his massive 11-meter-high statue.
Visitor can scan any status and can any piece with his telephone. He will make information about this piece with your phone. And the Grand Egyptian Museum more and more facilities like halls, like cinema, like more and more education for agricultural. The Grand Egyptian Museum, it has more and more for humanity, not as for Egyptian people, but everyone in the world.
A giant staircase is lined with the statues of the other ancient kings and queens, And on an upper floor, a huge window offers a perfectly framed view of the Giza pyramids. The museum was first proposed in 1992 during the rule of the former President Hosni Mubarak, and construction began in 2005. It has now taken nearly as long to complete as the Great Pyramid. This is Ahmed Nader for the television of Bahrain.
The National Security Advisor, Royal Guard Commander and Secretary General of the Supreme Defense Council, His Highness Lieutenant General Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, signed an MOU in security between Bahrain's General Secretariat of the Supreme Defense Council and Cyprus National Security Council within the framework of the 21st Regional Security Summit, the Manama Dialogue 25. The Cypriot side was represented by its National Security Advisor and Director of the Intelligence Services, Tassos Tsezonis, in the presence of the Deputy National Security Advisor, Deputy Secretary General of the Supreme Defense Council, Sheikh Khaled bin Ali Al Khalifa, and the Chairman of the Strategic Security Bureau, Sheikh Ahmed bin Abdul Aziz Al Khalifa. His Highness said that signing the MOU is part of Bahrain's vision to expand its international partnerships in the field of security, noting that it is a strategic step that enhances security cooperation with Cyprus, contributes to the development of security networks, and supports joint preparations to face regional and global challenges. He said that the strong relations between Bahrain and Cyprus witnessed continuous growth, and this reflects mutual trust and a keenness to develop effective cooperation in light of global changes. The MOU includes cooperation in the exchange of security information and expertise, training and continuous coordination between the two sides, and supports the two countries' efforts to consolidate regional and international security and stability, in addition to addressing future common security challenges. Both sides reviewed the existing cooperation between Bahrain and Cyprus. Bahrain hosted the annual meeting of the Defense Working Group of the Comprehensive Security Integration and Prosperity Agreement, or the CCPA, with the participation of representatives from Bahrain, the UK and the US. The meeting was attended by the National Security Advisor, Royal Guard Commander, Secretary General of the Supreme Council for Defense, Lieutenant General His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, UK's Chief of the Defense Staff, Air Chief Marshal Sir Richard Knighton, and the Commander of the US Central Command, Admiral Brad Cooper. Members of the DWG welcomed the UK's accession to the CCPA as a step contributing to the enhancement of joint security efforts, commending the UK's defence and security expertise and continued commitment to achieving regional and international stability in support of the agreement's strategic objectives. The meeting reiterated the member states' commitment to regard any external aggression or threat against the sovereignty, independence or territorial integrity of the parties as a matter of great importance to the others under Article 2 of the agreement, emphasizing the importance of joint action to confront threats or hostile activities that may affect regional security and international stability. The talks highlighted the role of the CCPA as a distinguished platform for promoting joint security and advancing regional deterrence. Under the patronage of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the 26th Island Classic Charity Golf Tournament, organized by the American Mission Hospital at the Royal Golf Club, concluded. The representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work, Youth Affairs, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, participated with Team Victorious on the third day of the tournament, while participating with Team Safriya on the second day. His Highness said that His Majesty the King's patronage of this tournament confirms his continuous support for Bahraini sports in general and golf in particular. He praised the organizational level of the tournament, noting that the wide participation reflects support for charitable and humanitarian initiatives that benefit society, commending the participants' performance and the outstanding technical level of the tournament. The event witnessed wide participation from teams and players from various bodies amid strong competition and advanced technical skill, reflecting the development of golf in Bahrain. Team Victorious, consisting of His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad, Mike Leronzo, Mehdi Tadawi and Sufyan Tadawi, won first place in the Champions Flight with a total of 46.2 points. Second place went to the Ministry of Interior team with a total of 48.7 points, and third place went to the team Mohammed Jalal with 51.3 points. First place in the Premier Flight went to Team Safriya, consisting of His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad, Mohammed Musallam, Sufyan Tadawi and Mehdi Tadawi with a total of 47.1 points. Second place went to Team Jackers with a total of 47.4 points, and third went to Team VGA with a total of 49.3 points. The 21st session of the Manama Dialogue 25 concluded on its third day with the participation of political elites, security leaders and military experts representing more than 60 countries. The Manama Dialogue 25 discussed the most prominent issues and ideas related to regional and international security amid widespread interaction on ways to enhance international cooperation in facing security, economic and humanitarian challenges and to establish the concepts of preventing diplomacy and sustainable development as fundamental pillars for achieving global peace and stability. The forum kicked off with an opening session attended by the National Security Advisor, Commander of the Royal Guard, His Highness Lieutenant General Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, on behalf of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Prime Minister, during which His Highness affirmed that Bahrain, under the leadership of His Majesty the King, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, supports efforts and endeavours aimed at consolidating security and peace and supporting stability in the region and the world.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In the name of God, the Merciful.
Distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is a profound honor to welcome you to the Kingdom of Bahrain for the 21st IISS Manama Dialogue. I am pleased to extend His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa's sincere wishes for a meaningful and successful dialogue, along with the warmest regards and encouragement from His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, as we gather to advance shared leadership goals. The dialogue continues to serve as a vital platform for advancing regional security, stability, and prosperity. Bahrain deeply values the participation of numerous distinguished and senior representatives from around the world, whose presence and engagement serve as a testament to the enduring spirit of collaboration that defines our shared pursuit for security. I look forward to the fruitful discussions and meaningful engagements that will take place over the course of the dialogue, contributing to a deeper understanding and stronger cooperation among all participants. On this occasion, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to Dr. Bastian Gietrich, Director General and Chief Executive of the International Institute for Strategic Studies, and Mr. Sami Sampson. Where's Sami? Hey, Sami. Executive Director of the IISS for their dedicated efforts in organizing and preparing for this dialogue. Their continued commitment and professionalism have been instrumental in ensuring the success of this important platform, which brings together leaders, policymakers, and experts to exchange ideas, address shared challenges, and shape a more secure and prosperous future for our region. The Middle East today stands at a defining moment, one shaped by both and persistent challenges. Under the wise visionary leadership of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the Kingdom of Bahrain continues to uphold the principles of coexistence and dialogue as the foundation of effective statecraft and regional engagement. It is through such steadfast commitment that we find the means to navigate the complexities of our region and contribute meaningfully to collective progress. Recent positive developments, particularly following the adoption of the Gaza Peace Plan, advanced under the leadership of the United States administration and supported by construction mediation efforts, have opened a window of opportunity for renewed regional stability and cooperation. These outcomes underscore the importance of diplomacy, partnership, and pragmatic dialogue in resolving long-standing disputes and fostering sustainable regional resolution. Yet, even as we welcome these encouraging signs, we remain mindful of the destabilization actions that seek to undermine stability and prosperity. such actions only hinder reconstruction and reconciliation efforts at a time when unity and collaboration are mostly in need. In this pivotal period, it is incumbent upon all regional and international partners to reaffirm their shared commitment to dialogue over division and to cooperation over confrontation. Through wise leadership, mutual respect, and a collective vision for stability, our region can move decisively forward towards a future defined by stability, opportunity, and enduring prosperity for all. In that same spirit, as you engage with the important and wide-ranging issues on the Manama Dialogue agenda, I wish you productive and enlightening discussions. Your insights, your collaborations will undoubtedly contribute to the advancement of peace and security around the region. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
During a high-level dialogue entitled The Necessity of Security Cooperation at the Manama Dialogue, the U.S. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, said that the very fact that summit has been held in Bahrain for more than 2 decades now is proof of the kingdom's belief in the importance of moving forward with collective action.
Distinguished guests, excellencies, friends, and fellow peacemakers, it's a privilege to join all of you here this evening. Your Highness, thank you very much for your kind hospitality and welcoming us and hosting this important event. To I and SS and your team, thank you for yet again putting on a phenomenal dialogue. It's an honor to be able to address you here in the Kingdom of Bahrain at this pivotal time in global history. As we gather here, we're reminded that true security, true stability and peace cannot be forged in isolation, but in the common collection of peacemakers working towards that common purpose. Today I want to speak plainly for myself as a veteran and a soldier who has seen firsthand the high cost of war. As someone who serves under President Trump's leadership, I have experienced the promise of peace. His vision is about delivering real wins, not just for America, but for our collective cause of peace and prosperity, and doing so through a very principled realism rooted in shared goals, interests, and values. The old Washington way of thinking is something we hope is in the rearview mirror and something that has held us back for too long. For decades, our foreign policy has been trapped in a counterproductive and endless cycle of regime change or nation building. It was a one-size-fits-all approach of toppling regimes, trying to impose our system of governance on others, intervene in conflicts that were barely understood, and walk away with more enemies than allies. The results: trillions spent, countless lives lost, and in many cases a creation of greater security threats, the rise of Islamist terrorist groups like ISIS. President Trump was elected by the American people to put an end to this. And from day one, he has showed a very different way to conduct foreign policy, one that is pragmatic, that is deal-driven, with a very realistic approach focused on protecting American security and prosperity while engaging with the world on terms that actually make sense. During his first term, the president brokered the Abraham Accords, this historic pact between Israel, the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan that came from staying laser-like focused on shared interests: economic prosperity, counterterrorism, technological innovation. These countries that had eyed each other perhaps warily at times for decades found common ground in trade routes, joint ventures, and a mutual stake in both regional and global stability. We've heard President Trump and Vice President Vance speak just last week about their hope that the Abraham Accords will continue to grow and expand to allow for a true lasting regional stability and peace. This is what President Trump's America First policy looks like in action, building peace through diplomacy with an understanding that there cannot be prosperity without peace. President Trump de-escalated tensions on the Korean Peninsula through direct talks during his first term in office. He opened lines of communication with North Korea that had been frozen for generations. He did what no other president had been willing to do, engage directly to speak about peace. He restored American leadership abroad. He brokered economic normalization between Serbia and Kosovo, promoting stability and peace in the Balkans regions. And now, just 9 months into his second term, President Trump's America First agenda is supercharging these efforts and securing peace on a scale that we haven't seen in decades. He secured ceasefires between India and Pakistan, Israel and Iran, a peace agreement between Rwanda and the DRC, a peace deal between Armenia and Azerbaijan, Cambodia and Thailand, and averted conflict between Egypt and Ethiopia over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. As was mentioned previously and is very much in focus for so many of us, he negotiated the release of all living hostages from Hamas. While fragile, an historic ceasefire and peace plan is moving forward, it is doing so with integral support from many of our partners here in this room. So what ties all of this together? A simple and revolutionary idea. Pursue joint interests, find those win-win solutions where they align, and recognize that, yes, we will have differences and we will work through them. President Trump understands that not everyone shares our exact values or our system of governance, and that's okay. What's most important is finding where our shared common ground exists and building those partnerships and progressing on those common grounds. Things like energy independence that stabilizes global markets. Things like countering terrorism, something that continues to grow in different parts of the world. Strengthening trade partnerships to boost economic growth and innovation. These are the components, the glue of enduring partnerships and friendships. So America First is not about isolating ourselves, as President Trump has shown. It's about engaging in direct diplomacy, being willing to have conversations that others are not willing to have, and finding that path forward where our mutual sovereign interests are aligned. And that's really why we're all gathered here today in Manama. We can commit to this path ourselves and put it into action. With Bahrain's own leadership, year after year, hosting these critical dialogues shows us the way forward, convening nations from around the globe, amplifying shared stakes, and strengthening partnerships and lines of communications that allow us to resolve our differences and deliver results for our respective people. Under President Trump, the United States is your partner in executing this vision as a deal maker who is committed to peace. And together we look forward to continuing this path towards peace, to ending wars that have defined too many generations, unlock prosperity for millions, and help support the future of a Middle East where security is a dividend of cooperation, not a cost of conflict. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless the pursuit of peace.
Very much, Director Gabbard. You spoke about peace through diplomacy also in the service of prosperity, and maybe that's a good way to lead into our conversation now, for which we have about 15 minutes or so. And I wanted to ask both of you to speak a little bit about CCPA, the Comprehensive Security Integration and Prosperity Agreement that was signed between your two nations in 2023. Of course, shortly after the region entered a phase of turbulence, I think one can say. But you're both here, and it underlines the endurance of that vision that was enshrined in that agreement. So I wonder whether I can ask you to talk to us a little bit about how you're proceeding with the implementation, and also what kind of message the CCPA agreement conveys to other countries who are seeking to build their cooperative frameworks. Maybe, Your Highness, if I may ask you to start.
All right, thank you very much. As promised, I'll be short and precise because I personally would rather face an army but not face the food. So I would like to go on the CCPA, which is actually the answer for so many conflicts we see, and also not just conflicts, but also the answer for how do we build a global framework that is much bigger than a regional effort. So the CCPA is actually a new framework that we have been working on since the signature of a bilateral agreement with the United States, and we are very proud of it. That came right after our signature of the Abraham Accord. So this follows the Abraham Accord effort. Yet, any new framework needs to be institutionalized, and from our side, we have conducted a high-level meetings at Washington and at Manama as well, at the highest level possible. And I personally lead the Defense Working Group, the DWG, so I would refer to it as the DWG. And we have broken down the CCPA into 3 different sectors, which is the Defense Working Group, which conducts the Article 2, and then we will have the Science and Tech Division, and then we will have the Economy and Trade Division. And this is why the CCPA, we look at it as a capital C. It is a comprehensive agreement. It is not just a defensive agreement. And as soon as we have signed that agreement, we have seen quickly a regional unrest. And that means it's not just a commitment from the United States, but also it's a commitment from Bahrain, where we have immediately joined the Operation Prosperity Guardian. And we are there with you and will always be with the United States.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Highness. Yes, this agreement is exactly what President Trump had in mind in the crafting of the Abraham Accords, and Bahrain being a partner, obviously there, but moving very quickly towards execution, and really turning those ideals into actions. And so, obviously, under President Trump's leadership on all fronts, we are moving very quickly forward in following through on that agreement that was signed under the last administration, to make sure that those connections are being made not only between counterparts within government, but bringing together, I think, a private sector on the American side who are very eager to engage and to bring innovation and to bring solutions forward that can turn this into something that is able to start delivering very real results. So we're very happy about this and the progress that's already been made. I think there's incredible potential, specifically because of where we are now, with some hope for a new dynamic here in the region, and one that is forward-looking towards peace and stability.
Your Highness, on the point of progress, I mean, what are the highlights for you in the CCPA implementation that stand out for you? Where would you like perhaps see yet more progress? Where can we go further and faster? And if I may also invite you to perhaps look at when the region mobilized back in June to defend against an incoming Iranian missile attack. What was the role of CCPA in the context of defending and protecting the Kingdom of Bahrain?
So basically it has really advanced our strategic priorities. And thanks to the United States, we have fast-tracked our F-16 Block 70 integration and boosting our air power and interoperability. So this is something that we really value, and as well as the Patriot missile systems actually delivered ahead of schedule. We have signed at this time last year and during the IISS with the National Geospatial Agency, and this is something that is not just a defense related, but also it has a lot of benefits in the civilian sector as well. But not only that as well, tomorrow, us and the DWG sign a trilateral with the United States and the United Kingdom together, and we'll be announcing it, inshallah, tomorrow, and you'll hear a joint statement starting from tomorrow, inshallah, during that trilateral. So CCPA is not a bilateral, and it's not also a trilateral, it's a multilateral. It is not a regional, it is I see it as, since after probably the Cold War, there's an outdated security structure, if I may say that. And CCPA today, look at it as at a global level. You can be creative with it. You can offset so many things with it. And I think we have benefited from it, and we have integrated our efforts with the United States. And also, we will see CCPA evolving, and we will see new opportunities and hopefully new flags joining the multilateral agreement, inshallah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Dr. Gabbard, the United States across administrations have prioritized bilateral security agreements, and Qatar has recently obtained a security commitment through an executive order. Saudi Arabia is reportedly seeking a security agreement with the United States. So what does this tell us about the U.S. role, the security role in the Gulf, and what does it mean for U.S. global posture, these arrangements?
Yeah. The president obviously has focused a lot on building these economic partnerships. As Your Highness very eloquently stated, you can't look at any one of these things in a vacuum or in a silo, because ultimately they're all connected. And the president has recognized how to capitalize on that, but also recognizing that the United States relationship with different countries perhaps needs to be different in certain cases. And so, as you've seen through his direct engagement, his incredible first trip out here to the Middle East shortly after taking office, really delivered great results, and investing in those relationships from the outset is what really made it possible for him, both through the 12-day war with Iran, but also in this ceasefire and peace deal with Israel and Hamas, to make this possible, to bring together friends and partners to work towards those shared interests. The road ahead will not be simple or easy, but the president is very committed down this road, again, recognizing the direct connection between peace and prosperity, and working with each of our partners and friends uniquely to recognize and understand what the challenges and opportunities are that exist within each.
You both mentioned that in the case of CCPA, it obviously goes beyond defense and military matters. And Your Highness, can I ask you to perhaps speak a little bit about the other benefits of that agreement in non-security domains? There's science, there's technology. What stands out for you?
Well, first of all, let's talk about CCPA. Let's not talk about acronyms. It is Comprehensive Security, Integration, Prosperity Agreement. So we have designed the CCPA to become a driver of prosperity and innovation, and not only a military pact. Yes, there is a lot of non-security gains as well. During the visit of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince to Washington, there was a multi-billion-dollar deal signed thanks to CCPA. We have signed with the United States in the sector of energy. We were one of the first countries to sign, and thanks to you, Tulsi, and your government, in the SMR domain, which is the small modular reactors, and the nuclear energy. We have signed in the cybersecurity, geospatial space as well, space industry. So really we are seeing the sky is the limit, and we are trying to become creative with what we are having on the table with us, and maximizing on our bilaterals with the United States. And we also continue talking with the United States and the industries as well, between our both countries.
And Dr. Gabbard, the intelligence is obviously a key part of security cooperation. Can you speak a little bit about your expectations, American expectations, towards partners in that field? What underpins a reliable intelligence relationship? Also, what is the U.S. willing to put into those relationships? Obviously, the U.S. has unique assets and abilities, and I wonder whether you can explain how you look at that aspect of security cooperation, the intelligence aspect.
Well, I won't delve into the depth of intelligence capabilities in this setting. The relationships really are the key. And this is why I really value and I'm grateful to be here, because it is our ability to build those, in many cases, long-standing friendships, partnerships, make sure that those lines of communication are open, not just to share information when it's good news, but really those relationships are what we depend on when we hit a rough patch or there is a crisis that needs to be addressed, where candor is required and plainly speaking of the ground truth of a situation is required for us to be able to navigate through it safely. And to deliver results. Again, I look to these most recent examples that President Trump has led in dealing with Iran that required a lot of conversation with many of our partners across this region and very candid dialogue about what was happening and what was the threat that needed to be dealt with and the results that ultimately were delivered. Again, the same here in dealing with Hamas. This could not be done by any single country alone. We are in this game-changing and historic moment with President Trump leading the charge, working with people who have become good friends of his. I think that sometimes people think because you're friends, you have to agree on everything. That's not the case. Every nation's leader will think first and foremost of what is best for their own sovereign interests, what's best for their own people. President Trump does that every single day. And he recognizes that what's best for the American people is when we can tackle and solve these problems together. And so from my standpoint, and my role as the Director of National Intelligence, of course, is to make sure we have those strong lines open with our friends and partners in this region and around the world. And to make sure that we are best informing the President so that he can continue to deliver success towards this end of peace and stability.
Can I ask you both one final question very briefly? And Dr. Gabbard, I'll start with you and then I'll let His Highness have the final word. But given that there is this sense of urgency and there's volatility, it's a fast-paced environment, do you feel our efforts on security cooperation across the region, are they keeping pace with that demand and that environment? What do you think?
I do. I think when President Trump first came into office, again, the second time, he certainly hit the ground running. He wasted no time. And what has been very heartening and I think exciting and hopeful to see is how many of these nations' leaders have been eager to step up and engage and not only keep pace, but really to find, hey, where are there new opportunities to explore that haven't been explored before, or what are the conversations that now we can have to tackle tough problems that were maybe taboo to have in the past, or conversations that people thought didn't need to be had because the task was impossible. I think President Trump has really shown that we cannot afford to have a defeatist attitude. If we are committed to peace as we say we are, we have to be willing to do the things that others have been unwilling to do in the past to deliver the results that have failed in the past to have been delivered.
Thank you. Your Highness.
I do agree with you, Tulsi, and indeed there is a growing sense of urgency. In Bahrain, the imperative is clear. But what we need now around the world is actually to stay ahead of the curve, to keep up with the pace ahead of us, and the conventional and the cyber and the hybrid domain as well. There is an imminent threat ahead of us. We watch it, but we also have to keep up with the pace. And again, I would finalize my word as I have started it with CICIPA, I think this framework lets us to have that edge over the building up speed of threat globally.
Yeah. Thank you very much. May I invite all of you to thank our two fantastic speakers. Thank you very much.
Now, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdel Latif Al-Zayani, during the session of the Manama Dialogue, stressed the importance of dialogue and understanding as a fundamental pillar for achieving regional and international security and stability.
Bahrain firmly believes that conflicts are best resolved through understanding and dialogue, by fostering an environment where communities unite to confront common challenges. Education and cultural exchange are vital. They foster tolerance, nurture trust, and ensure that every voice contributes to shaping the future.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Oman, Badr al-Busaidi, during the Manama Dialogue, stressed the importance of the event in promoting constructive dialogue, diversity of ideas, and affirming the collective conviction that stability can only be achieved through communication and understanding.
I wish also to extend my thanks, first of all, to the Kingdom of Bahrain and the International Institute for Strategic Studies for organizing this dialogue. I am really glad to be able to contribute. Every year, this event provides an excellent platform for all of us to express views and listen to a variety of perspectives. This diversity of ideas, of thought, no doubt will benefit us all as we unite around the conviction that stability is always fostered through dialogue.
A special session was also held on the second day of the Manama Dialogue, titled National Security and Energy, the American Approach, in which U.S. Secretary of Interior Doug Burgum spoke about the role of the U.S. as the world's largest producer and major source of energy. The session discussed the relationship between national security and energy in the administration of U.S. affairs, emphasizing that energy is the foundation of all industries and the engine of global economic prosperity, noting that achieving national security for any country begins with securing its energy. Well, during the 21st IISS Manama Dialogue 25, U.S. Ambassador to Turkey and Special Envoy for Syria, Tom Barak, praised Bahrain's 250-year royal dynasty and His Majesty the King's 25-year of leadership, highlighting that Bahrain's global alliances strengthen sovereignty and are key to regional peace and prosperity. Barak called the Manama model a vital example of combining strong sovereignty with strategic international partnership.
And I first want to give my thanks to His Majesty King Hamad, the Crown Prince, His Royal Highness Salman, and Sheikh Nasser. I think being here with a group of professionals like all of you is such a gift, because what we find with one another is what we're missing in our daily dialogues. With power behind a peace and prosperity discussion. Now, the rest of the region has an opportunity to fold in. If you look at what happened in Sharm el-Sheikh, it was such an amazing event. To have the world leaders, the Middle East leaders, with the European leaders in the background, all uniting around this president in an array of a declaration of saying, we are all here as a voice against fundamentalist terrorism. The model is really the Manama model. If you look at what happened in Bahrain, you have 250 years of the family dynasty here. The king has been in power a quarter of a century. But if you look at what's happened by global alliance, partnerships, coming back to strength and sovereignty, those are the models that we need to build. Sovereignty is evident, sovereignty is necessary, but your alliance and your partnerships in this part of the world is essential.
During the Manama dialogue, the Minister of Defense of the Netherlands, Ruben Brekelmans, underscored the importance of collaborative defense efforts in addressing evolving geopolitical dynamics. Now, the Shura Council held its weekly session chaired by Ali Al-Salah. The Shura Council approved Decree Law 8 of 2004 on joining several international judicial treaties and agreements, and Decree Law 9 of 24 concerning the Bahrain International Commercial Court. It also approved the Financial and Economic Affairs Committee's recommendation to adopt the state's consolidated final account for the fiscal year ending 31st of December 23. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa deputized the Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa to inaugurate Gateway Gulf 25, organized by the Economic Development Board. The Deputy Prime Minister affirmed that Bahrain's hosting of the forum for the third consecutive year reflects His Majesty the King's vision of strengthening Bahrain's role as a regional economic hub open to the world, and aligns with His Royal Highness directives to enhance economic partnerships and promote sustainable investment opportunities. He noted that this year's theme, Rethinking Global Investment and New Trade Transformations, underscores the need for greater regional integration and innovative paths for sustainable growth. He highlighted Bahrain's steady progress in implementing its Economic Vision 2030 based on sustainability, competitiveness and fairness, supported by a flexible legislative framework and a highly qualified national workforce. He also praised the strong international participation in the forum and commended the Economic Development Board and its partner for their efforts in organizing the event. The Minister of Finance, National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, opened Gulf Gateway 25, noting that it serves as a platform for building partnerships, exploring opportunities, and shaping the future of investment in the GCC.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Your Excellency, Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, Deputy Prime Minister, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests. On behalf of His Royal Highness, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Bahrain, it is my honor to welcome you to Gateway Gulf, our flagship investment forum that brings together global investors, regional leaders, and visionary thinkers to unlock the full potential of investment in Bahrain and across the Gulf. Whether you have joined us from across the GCC, from Asia, Europe, or the Americas, we are delighted to host you here in Bahrain. Your presence reflects a shared belief in the promise of our region and in the power of partnership to drive lasting progress. Since the first Gateway Gulf in 2018, and in line with the directives of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa to foster an open and competitive economy that creates opportunities for all, the Kingdom of Bahrain has attracted over $17 billion in foreign direct investment. And over the next 2 days, across 61 announcements and 33 signing ceremonies, we will be announcing projects worth another $17 billion. Bahrain has always been a gateway. For millennia, our archipelago of islands have connected cultures and commerce, serving as a bridge between East and West, between innovation and opportunity. That legacy of openness continues today. From finance and logistics to manufacturing, tourism, and the digital economy, Bahrain offers one of the region's most agile and welcoming business environments. Yet our greatest strength lies not only in our location or our laws, but most importantly, in our people. Talented, ambitious, and eager to shape the future. Gateway Gulf is more than a conference. It is a platform to build relationships, explore opportunities, and share ideas that will redefine the future of investment in the GCC. Across our region, we are witnessing an extraordinary transformation. Economies are diversifying, governments are innovating, and new industries from clean energy to fintech are reshaping the landscape. The Gulf is emerging not only as a hub of capital, but as a center of creativity, sustainability, and technological excellence. Bahrain is proud to be at the heart of this transformation, offering investors an ecosystem built on transparency, connectivity, and innovation, a place where business can thrive and partnerships can flourish. There are two defining aspects of the backdrop in which we meet today. First, the globally unique ambition and pace of change across our region. Not ambition in words, but one proven in delivery. Across the Gulf, projects are not just planned, they are already online and producing. New sectors are not just emerging, they are already hiring, exporting, and scaling. And capital is not just being deployed, it is already compounding and delivering real returns. In the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the number of SMEs has more than doubled since 2016. In the United Arab Emirates, capital and innovation have come together to deliver advanced data centers that serve the region and serve the world. And the second aspect in this backdrop is global. We are in a world in transformation. Much is said today about deglobalization, decoupling, and fragmentation. But more profoundly, and perhaps even more transformational than the Industrial Revolution, we have entered the age of intelligence. Artificial intelligence is moving from the margins to the core, shaping how factories operate, how banks serve their customers, how ports and logistics networks move goods around the world. Private and state capital are playing an increasingly vital role in empowering this transformation, ensuring that the energy, the infrastructure, regulation, and human capital are all in place. And in this new age, speed and consistency will be the key drivers of success. The winners will be the companies and the jurisdictions that deliver on time, every time. Here in Bahrain, our Team Bahrain ethos makes this practical. One government, one partner, connecting capital to decisions with pace and precision. And Gateway Gulf is our catalyst. Over the next 2 days, we will explore new trade dynamics and the opportunities they present, digital transformation in this age of intelligence, and the industrial foundations that turn ambition into investment. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, as we open Gateway Gulf today, I encourage you to look beyond the numbers and the projections, and to see the people and stories behind them. The entrepreneurs daring to innovate, the young engineers designing the technologies of tomorrow, the communities ready to grow alongside the investments we make. Let Gateway Gulf be a place where bold ideas are born, where meaningful connections are made, and where a shared vision for the Gulf's future takes shape. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to Bahrain.
The Deputy Premier, Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, met with the Saudi Minister of Tourism, Dr. Ahmed bin Aqil Al Khatib, the Saudi Minister of Economy and Planning, Faisal bin Fadl Ibrahim, the UAE Minister of State for Foreign Trade, Dr. Thani bin Ahmed Al Zayudi, and the Saudi Assistant Minister of Investment, Engineer Ibrahim Al Mubarak, on the sidelines of the Gateway Gulf 25. The Minister of Finance, National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, and the Minister of Sustainable Development, Chief Executive of the Economic Development Board, Noor Al Khaliyaf, also attended the meeting. The Deputy Premier said that Bahrain, under the leadership of His Majesty the King and with the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Prime Minister, is keen to expand economic cooperation with the GCC. He said the close fraternal ties that bind Bahrain with other GCC countries have contributed to consolidating the foundations of the Gulf Partnership in shaping the present and future of development in the region. The Deputy Premier pointed to the advanced model of economic integration based on openness and sustainability for the benefit of the region and its peoples, as represented by Bahrain's relations with Saudi Arabia and the UAE. The Minister of Foreign Affairs met with Palestine's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates, Dr. Varsin Shaheen, on the sidelines of the participation in the Manama Dialogue 25. They discussed their deep-rooted historical and fraternal relations and ways to develop cooperation and coordination to serve their common interests and objectives. They reviewed regional developments and their impact on security and stability in the region, efforts to reduce tension and the importance of maintaining the ceasefire in Gaza, facilitating the delivery of humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza, and the need for concerted regional and international efforts to achieve a just and comprehensive peace in the region. They discussed supporting the Palestinian people's right to establish an independent Palestinian state in accordance with the two-state solution and relevant UN resolutions, and working towards recovery and reconstruction in Gaza. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdulrafit bin Rashid Zayani, met with the Minister of Interior Municipalities of Lebanon, Brigadier General Ahmed Al-Hajjar. The meeting discussed the historical relations between the two countries and their ongoing progress and development across various sectors. They also reviewed efforts to enhance bilateral cooperation to serve the shared interests of both countries and peoples. The meeting further addressed the efforts of the Lebanese government to strengthen security and stability in Lebanon, preserve its sovereignty and independence, and meet the aspirations of the Lebanese people. The two ministers also exchanged views on recent regional developments and their implications for security and stability in the region. The Minister of Foreign Affairs also met Yemen's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates, Dr. Shaya Zindani. The two sides discussed further strengthening their close relations and their continued development to support their shared interests. The meeting addressed the latest developments in Yemen and the efforts of the Yemeni government to meet the aspirations of its people for security, stability and development. They also covered regional and international efforts to support peace and security in Yemen, safeguard navigation in the Bab al-Mandab Strait and the Red Sea. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Zayani, met Syria's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates, Asad al-Shaybani. They discussed their long-standing relations as well as the means to enhance bilateral cooperation in support of the mutual interests of both countries and peoples. They reviewed the latest regional and international developments and efforts of the Syrian government to strengthen security and stability, preserve its sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity, and meet the aspirations of the Syrian people for peace, growth and prosperity. Dr. Zayani also met with Doug Burgum, the U.S. Secretary of Interior. The meeting discussed the historic friendship and strategic partnership between the two countries and their close cooperation under existing agreements, including the Comprehensive Security Integration and Prosperity one. They also discussed regional issues and security challenges and ways to strengthen cooperation to promote regional security, stability and prosperity. The Minister of Foreign Affairs also met with UK Minister of Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs, Yvette Cooper. The meeting discussed the strategic partnership between both countries and ways to develop cooperation to more comprehensive levels within the framework of the CCPA. They discussed regional and international issues and efforts to enhance security and stability in the region and emphasized the importance of continued coordination between the two sides on various challenges of mutual interest. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdulatif bin Rashid Zayani, also met with the UK Shadow Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs, Priti Patel, member of the British House of Lords, Lord Stuart Pollack, and Lord John Mendelsohn, and members of the British Parliament. They discussed the distinguished historical relations between both countries and ways to continue developing cooperation in areas of mutual interest. They also discussed the latest regional and international issues and emphasized the importance of continuing joint consultation to support enhancing security and stability and establishing lasting peace in the region. The Minister of Foreign Affairs also met with the advisor to the French President on North Africa and Middle East, Anne Claire. The meeting reviewed the strong historic friendship between both countries and ways to strengthen cooperation in key fields. They also discussed regional and international issues and their impact on security and stability. The Minister praised France's active role in partnership with Saudi Arabia in organizing the international conference in New York last September to advance a peaceful two-state solution to the Palestinian cause. The Minister of Foreign Affairs also met with the Czech Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jan Lipavsky. The meeting discussed the close ties between both countries in light of their shared desire to develop cooperation that serve their mutual interests. They also discussed the latest regional and international issues and efforts to promote global peace and stability. The Foreign Affairs Minister, Dr. Abdulatif Zayani, met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Cyprus, Dr. Konstantinos Kombos. The meeting reviewed the strong friendship between Bahrain and Cyprus and discussed ways to enhance bilateral cooperation across all levels to advance shared interests and objectives. They also exchanged views on the latest regional developments and emphasized the importance of strengthening international efforts to promote security, stability and lasting peace in the region. The Minister of Foreign Affairs met with Australia's Minister for International Development, Multicultural Affairs, Small Business, Dr. Anne Ali. During the meeting, they discussed the distinguished historical friendship between Bahrain and Australia and ways to enhance and develop bilateral cooperation in many economic, trade, cultural and developmental fields in order to achieve the mutual interests of both countries and their friendly peoples. They also discussed a number of current regional and international issues, emphasizing the importance of ending regional conflicts through dialogue and political settlements and supporting efforts to establish security, peace and stability in the Middle East for the benefit of all its peoples. Dr. Abdulatif Zayani also met the head of the Middle East and North Africa Division at the Swiss Federal Department of Foreign Affairs State Secretariat, Ambassador Monika Kirgoz, and head of the International Security Division at the FDFA State Secretariat, Gabriel Lüfinger. The two sides discussed the close relations between Bahrain and the Swiss Confederation and their shared commitment to further enhancing bilateral cooperation to serve common interests. They also discussed regional and international issues and reviewed ongoing efforts to resolve global conflicts through diplomatic dialogue and to strengthen international peace, security and stability. Following the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Prime Minister, the Prime Minister's office announced that it will be accepting submissions for the 7th edition of the Government Innovation Competition, or FICRA, which will run until the 3rd of December of this year. FICRA aims to enhance creativity within Bahrain's national workforce and improve government work streams aligned with the Kingdom's comprehensive development led by His Majesty the King. The launch of the 7th edition of the competition will build the success of previous iterations and will enhance government work streams and promote a culture of creativity and innovation. Public sector employees and government enterprises may submit their ideas individually or in groups with a maximum of 4 individuals per group through the PMO's website. Ideas should focus on the ways that government services can be developed to improve their efficiency and performance. All submissions will undergo a preliminary review that will be conducted by the relevant members of the Evaluation Committee.